Hello everyone, welcome back to Sad School. My name is Azoh and I am very sorry for the delay. There is a lot on my mind right now, but I will try to get more regular with these uploads. In either case, this is Sad School lesson number 9 concerning split pushing. Split pushing is a very important tool for Sad players in all elos. The core idea behind it is to force your enemy to either quickly engage 4v5 and force objectives while you are at another lane, or to send someone to try to stop you. If you are fed, this is the best of all worlds, since if they send one person to get you, you can almost always 1v1 them, and if they send more than one person, your team will be in a 4v3 situation, giving your team a strong advantage. Most of the time you will be split pushing top or bot. Since the map is mirrored, let's look at this from the perspective of a blue side player, and let's start with warding. When you split top, you will want to have wards at these two locations, depending on how far you pushed. This way your opponent has to take the long way to not be spotted on their way to you. This is if you are pushing the inner and inhibitor turrets. If you are pushing the outer and inner turret, consider warding either of these places instead. Now, if we flip to bottom side instead, you'll find that the warding is a bit more simplistic. Always have a ward in blue bush, no matter how deep you're splitting. If you are splitting deep, keep a ward around here, and if you're not splitting as deep and you know that they will be roaming from mid lane, it does not hurt to keep a ward at Drake. The times to split are either when you feel that you can't do much in teamfights for whatever reason, or if your team is unable to siege because of strong anti-siege, or if you want to force an objective such as Baron by splitting bot and giving the enemy team an ultimatum that they have to deal with very quickly. Now that brings me to the main thought behind split pushing and how effective it is in solo queue. Make sure to tell your team that you are splitting, and that until they see at least one enemy on your lane, they should stay defensive. If they can manage that, a split push is easily something that could give your team back the advantage, since it requires a bit of organization by the enemy team to deal with. If you're split pushing and your team dies, weigh your options quickly. Can you get the inhibitor? Should you go back in defense? Those are usually your two options. Usually you can't defend one versus many, but if the enemy team is low and has lost a few members in the fighting, it's possible you could even clean up and get a few kills if you go back to defend. But usually what you want to do is keep pushing and get the inhibitor if they can't come get you. Of course, unless the nexus is threatened, then it doesn't really matter if you get bot inhibitor. Whatever you end up doing, make sure you stick with it. As we all know,
hesitation is the seed of defeat.
And if you end up recalling too late and not even getting the inhibitor, you're probably going to lose your own inhibitor and not get anything for it. When split pushing specifically as Z, a quick-based build usually works best. And then when you're actually dueling, focus not as much on jumping around and dodging, and more on brute forcing until your enemy is dead and keep auto-attacking. So, to recap, decide if you should split push. Decide if you can split push. Ward appropriately. Make sure that your team is on board with your decision. Stick to your decision. Have a crit item. Don't jump around too much when you're dueling.